Hello everyone, I'm back with another video. Today we're going to talk about the oh my gosh, the most iconic makeup artist ever. His name was Reggie Wells. He was an Emmy Award winning makeup artist for all the big time celebrities. And I found out he passed away on January the 8th of this year. And he was one of the first makeup artists to work with Whitney Houston when Whitney Houston first signed her record deal and was first, coming out publicly, like with publications like magazine covers and things like that. So he got the chance to work with her, and he had a book. He wrote a book, and this book was out way back in the early. I would say the early 2000s. I remember the book. Could have been a little much older than that, but I remember reading the book in the early 2000s. And this is what I got from the book. Reggie Wells was born in Baltimore, Maryland. He started out as a makeup artist, as a freelance makeup artist for different publications and editorial work. He wanted to work with Oprah Winfrey when Oprah was in Baltimore. Oprah had a talk show in Baltimore, and he would call the station to talk to her and tell her he wanted to do her makeup. He kept asking and asking and asking, and she kept telling him, no, I don't need no makeup artist and things like that. I don't know what happened. One day she gave in and he worked with her. He worked with her up until his passing. That's how great of a relationship him and Oprah had. He was a genius when it came to makeup and applying makeup into African American women. All women, but definitely to African American women, he was a phenomenon. And people don't realize back then, for African American women, makeup was hard to apply on them because they didn't have the right foundations. They didn't have the right colors. We are so blessed now to have a variety of brands and colors and textures of foundation and different types of way of to apply foundation. But back then it was what you had, and it was really makeup that was either too light for someone or too dark for someone. So a lot of these makeup artists had to make it work, and Reggie Wells was very smart to learn how to make it work for himself and make it work for his clients, and how to mix colors to make it blend better. And he became a phenomenon, especially with Essence magazine. Essence magazine would hire him all the time. He had done so many covers for Essence magazine. So Oprah took him under her wings, and he was a Hollywood makeup artist go-to. Everybody wanted to work with Reggie Wells. This was before Kevin Egan. Reggie Wells was that guy, and he still was that guy up until his passing. So he worked with a lot of the greats. I mean, a lot. You got Oprah, Vanessa Williams, Shaka Khan, Aretha Franklin. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And you know who else he worked with? The one and only Whitney Houston. Reggie moved to Woodbridge, New Jersey, and about this time he was this was the early 80s, probably like 1981, 82ish. He was working in New York, but he lived in New Jersey. And at this time he would take a commuter train, and he would take the train to New York for his jobs. And he said every time he would, take the train, he would see this beautiful girl. He said she was tall. He said she was really beautiful, model-esque. And he said he always wanted to do her makeup. He said he never had a conversation with her, but every time he would try to find a way to spark up a conversation with her, like the train would stop and she'd get off on her stop. And so he never had a conversation with her, but he said he will always see her several times. He will always see her on the train. It was a commuter train from Woodbridge, New Jersey to New York. So that's where both of them worked at, but he didn't know where he knew her from. He kept saying she looks very familiar, but I don't know where I know her from. And then it finally hit him. He said, that's that girl that modeled for 17 magazine. She's a model. Oh my goodness, I want to work with her. So time goes by, and fast forward to 1985, Essence magazine had booked him for a job. They wanted him to work with this young and upcoming female singer. And he was like, okay, I'll come and, do my do my thing, do my magic for this undiscovered diva. So when he went there, he said this girl was sitting at the makeup vanity, and she spun around the chair, and he said he almost passed out. It was the girl from the train. It was Whitney Houston. So he started yelling, I know you, you the girl from Woodbridge, New Jersey. You live we live in similar housing complex. Your housing complex is near mine, and I see you on the train all the time. And he said Whitney Houston's eyes started getting big, like, how do you know me? And he said, I see you all the time. And she didn't recognize him, but he recognized her, and they just started laughing. And he said Whitney was such a nice person. He said she was so kind, she was so beautiful, and she was very down to earth, and just a caring, loving person. So he started to apply makeup on Whitney, and he said Whitney was always inquisitive, like, why are you mixing these colors, and why do you do this, and what's the difference between stage makeup and makeup for a magazine photo shoot and things like that. He said she always asks questions about the makeup and how to apply it. And later on, I found out that Whitney applied, like, on, like, say for instance, she went on tour like to Germany or something, and she didn't have a makeup entourage with her. She would do her makeup herself. And it's footage of her from the My Love Is Your Love tour backstage applying makeup to her own face, so she would understand how to apply the eyeshadow, the foundation, and things like that. Now in the dressing room, while he was applying her makeup, he wanted to know how, he heard that she was going to be this big time singer. He wanted to hear her sing, and she had a cassette of her first album, the Whitney Houston album, and she played it for him, and he fell in love. He said he knew that she was going to be a big star right then and there. She already had the looks and now the voice, and he couldn't believe such a powerful voice came out such a little woman. And he said it was just a wonderful time. Now Whitney was really looking forward to be on the cover of Essence magazine during one of her first major interviews in 1985. She was telling the interview person that look out, that she was going to have a cover for Essence magazine, but it never came to life. And Reggie found out while this photo shoot that he was applying the makeup to her face was for a cover try. Now a cover try back then, especially Whitney Houston, was an unknown. It was just to take photos and see if the pictures, they were going to like the pictures enough to put it on the cover of the magazine. Now back then in the early 80s, more models were more popular on magazine covers than artists, and especially an unknown artist was not really featured on a major publication until they proved that they were good enough. So I know y'all remember that photo shoot where Whitney Houston got that scarf around her head, and it's like a bodysuit. It's like a early Entertainment Tonight has the footage. And Reggie Wells is the makeup artist that applied the makeup for that photo shoot, and looks, oh my gosh, look fierce. It's phenomenally. She looked gorgeous. And he was so disappointed that they did not pick Whitney Houston photos for the cover photo of the magazine. So they saved the photo shoot for an what was that, Essence September 1986 issue. They featured a Whitney Houston inside of it, and it shows all the pictures inside is Reggie Wells' makeup work. So that's his work from that issue of that magazine, and she looked beautiful, phenomenal. You could tell this is a really one of her first photo shoots that she did as Whitney Houston the singer. Also, that photo shoot also was one of her first magazine covers for New Jersey magazine from back then. And also, he worked with Whitney Houston and on Harper's Bazaar. He worked with her in Glamour magazine, and he also his work was also featured in 17 magazine when Whitney Houston came back as a singer, not a model, for the 1985 issue, and she looked so beautiful. So he really worked very well with Whitney Houston. His techniques with Whitney, he didn't make her lighter. He made her true brown complexion, and he liked a lot of rich makeup with her, like a lot of burgundies and purples and things like that. So his makeup techniques, I can tell when I see a pictures that he done of Whitney Houston. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is Reggie work from like 1985. I could tell it's like more of a rich makeup, but she's still brown, because usually the other makeup artists like Kevin make her lighter than what she normally is. So but Reggie, he made her a true brown. He was very disappointed that the photos did not make the cover of Essence magazine, but he was ecstatic that he made a new friend. And him and Whitney Houston was really close friends in the beginning of her music career. He said Whitney Houston, by this time Whitney was driving, and he said Whitney Houston would drive him to different jobs if they were, commuting the same place, because they lived in the same area. So they would always go to New York like during the same time. So he said she would be taking him to different job gigs, gigs or whatever. Or when they worked together, she would take him home. So he said by this time he started learning, personal things about her, like, who her mom was, and Dionne Warwick was her cousin and things like that. Whitney booked him for one of her first appearances in concert, like in 1985. And he said he did not know that Whitney sweat so much on stage. He said he worked with her a lot and doing photo shoots, but doing photo shoot makeup and live stage makeup is totally two different things. Different lighting, different cameras, and things like that. So he said he didn't know she sweat so much. So instead of using liquid foundation, he would use powder foundation. And he said that will hold so much better on her skin because she sweats so much. And he had to learn what makeups not to use. He said he couldn't give her a dark mascara or a dark eyeshadow because it would run down her face. So he had to learn different makeup techniques for the makeup to stay on her face. So overall, him and Whitney Houston had a wonderful friendship and a wonderful celebrity client relationship. Client and the makeup artist, they had a great relationship together. He speaks highly of Whitney Houston, and he did a phenomenal job. Look at the photos of the work that he done for Whitney. She looks phenomenal. But I just wanted to remember Mr. Wells for his great work, and for, oh my gosh, his great work for everybody. A lot of our favorite celebrities that we see, especially back in the 80s and 90s, is his work. Even 2000s, it's his work. So may he rest in peace. And I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'll be back with another video. Please comment and subscribe and hit the thumbs up. And I'll be back, y'all. Bye.